I'm muted.
Was not Mike. I actually muted you.
Okay, you mute me too. Okay.
Mr. Becker, you hear Mr. Madden let you know that you're live? Mr. Becker, can you hear me? Mr. Becker, you hear Mr. Madden let you know that you're live?
Mr. Davis, I don't think you can hear me. No, I just unmuted my microphone.
Should be good, Mr. Becker.
Try it again?
Try this again. I'll give you a second to get later. Okay.
Mr. Becker, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
You hear Mr. Madden let you know that you're live? Yes, Mr. Becker, you're good now.
Roll call.
We don't want to go to the pledge because...
No, let's finish the roll call.
Okay. All right, roll call. Drew Hampton.
Here.
Greg Klebline.
Here.
Brianna Majeski.
Present.
Don Majeski.
Here.
Vote.
Here.
5 members present.
Okay, this time we'll conduct the board interviews. Jim, do you mind reading the questions?
Mm-hmm.
All right, Beth Unger.
Are you still have those questions?
Is your
Yep. Okay. Yep. Okay. Beth, welcome.
Thanks.
Why don't you tell us about yourself and what motivates you to want to become a board member?
Okay. So I am an SCA grad myself of 2004, and I have 3 girls, 2 of which are currently in the elementary school, and the third one cannot wait to come to the Tiger School. My girls love Southern Columbia. We love going to the football games. My youngest is a huge band member, guru. She loves sitting by the band. And growing up in the community and now coming back to the community, it's time for me, I feel, to give back to the community. As I think part of it is I've been firsthand experiencing the COVID experience where I work in the rehab, and I've had the opportunity to set an example for my kids and for the coworkers that I'm with treating these patients, and kind of looking at them, you know, not as a COVID patient, but as an individual. And being a part of that has really, I feel like, set the example for my family of, during this time, really being part of the solution and being a helper in this. And I feel like this is the time really where our community and our school needs help and guidance through not only the pandemic, but in the future.
Okay. Second question is, what key qualities or experience do you bring to the table to be an effective board member?
Sure. So I'm an occupational therapist by trade. And I think something unique about my experience and my education is that as an OT, we're very holistic in our viewpoint, meaning we look at things from many different perspectives and angles. And so when I'm coming across the situation that I'm trying to decide how to handle and what to do with that, especially when it comes to safety, you know, I look at it from the physical standpoint, the emotional, the cognitive, the spiritual. And so I feel like a lot of these situations that we're handling, I will be able to kind of bring in different perspectives, look at things in kind of a holistic manner from a lot of different viewpoints. I also am the trainer for our staff where I work on nonviolent crisis intervention. So I do a lot of de-escalation training with our workplace violence program. And one of the things that we focus on and that I've been trained in is actually an algorithm that's very basic in being able to take a situation and kind of analyze it and kind of categorize it in a risk situation. So what is the chance of something bad happening? And being able to kind of say, is it a low risk, a medium risk, a high risk? And then based on those, you know, kind of categorizing, it kind of really delineates how we would move forward in kind of handling those situations.
Great. Okay. Thank you.
All right,
You're welcome.
Anthony?
Hello, Anthony. Why don't you tell us about yourself and what motivates you to want to become a board member?
All right. So I am an import to this area. I met my beautiful wife many years ago, and we decided to put down roots in Elysburg. Flash forward a few years, and now we currently have 4 young children at home, 2 of whom go to the G.C. Hartman Elementary School right across the way. And in the next few years, we'll have 2 more coming in there. So to say, you know, we're definitely invested in Southern Columbia, I think, is an understatement. From the time I moved here, I've fully embraced the Southern Columbia culture. We've been at Knoebels almost every night, not this year, but in years past. We are at football games. I look forward every year to taking my day off and going to the state championship down in Hershey. So everything about this area, everything about this community, I absolutely love. Probably one of my favorite things about the area is that everybody in some way, either through, you know, personal connection or through another connection, knows one another. So it's such a small town feel, and I truly, truly value that. So From a personal standpoint, I would truly like to give back to the community that has given me so much over the past few years. I think it's super, super important to invest in the education and the future of our students, especially during the current situation that we're facing. On a professional side of things, I've studied a very, very long time. I'm currently employed by the Central Susquehanna Intermediate Unit as a special education special project supervisor. Prior to accepting that role, I filled a whole slew of different roles through within the public education sector. I've been a teacher, I've been an educational consultant, and like I said, most recently, I have been, for probably about the past 6 years, been working as an educational administrator. I have lots and lots of experience making difficult decisions. I have lots of different certifications, certified to be a principal, special education supervisor, vocational director. I currently possess a superintendent's letter of eligibility. So I think, that would imply that, I definitely have a lot of experience and knowledge to bring to the table. Yeah.
Some of this you already mentioned, but what key qualities or experiences do you bring to the table to be an effective board member?
I think, if you look at this question, kind of break it down a little bit, we'd separate it out from the professional side of things and the personal side of things. And when I think about serving on a board of education from a professional side of things, I truly understand that there are so many difficult decisions that need to be made within a school setting. And my experience has given me a very, very unique perspective into just what goes into making those decisions. Probably, one thing that I could say that may separate me from some others is that I understand how difficult it can be to make decisions when students are in the building. And, there are lots and lots of things at stake. And sometimes you make a decision and it's a good one. And sometimes you make a decision and it's not a great one. And, you just come back to the table and you learn about it, and it makes you more prepared to make those decisions next time. So it's about taking your information in and making those decisions. The next thing that I can tell you about myself is that I'm a very patient person. I take a lot of time to listen. I take a lot of time to get to know the people that I'm working with. And, it does help me in, navigate difficult situations. Coupling all of my experience along with my personal connection to the community, I think that would make me an ideal candidate to serve on this board. And I definitely look forward to helping out in any way I can.
All right, thank you. Ryan Diehl.
Hello, Ryan.
Hello.
Why don't you tell us about yourself and what motivates you to want to become a board member?
I'm actually another import to the area. I have 3 children. I have one that's in Columbia Montour Tech. I have one that's in the high school and one in the middle school. I am very well invested in the community. I coach Little League. I run Southern Columbia's youth football program. I've been doing that for about 5 years now. What has motivated me to run for the school board is I'm so solely invested in this community. When I moved to this area, it felt more at home, and I just wanted to make a better impact on what I do every day whenever I deal with everything. I have so many kids that I interact with on a daily basis, as with baseball, with football, and I just want to be able to do the best thing and look out for the best for them individuals as they grow up.
What key qualities or experience do you bring to the table to be an effective board member?
For my profession, I'm a restaurant general manager. On a daily occasion, I have to make split-second decisions and go out and deal with the public, talk to them, understand and listen to anything concern that a guest would have with me. As I go through I also have to balance a budget with work. I have to stay within the realms of what the company allows me to do, which I think would help us in some financial areas when it comes down to our budgets that we just had ordeals with and having to pass. I'm a very organized person. I always stay on task with things. Whenever I dive into something, I dive headfirst into it. Anybody that knows me knows that I 100%, if I get invested in something, I just go forward with it and make sure that I give the best effort I possibly can do with it.
All right, next is Cynthia Brassington.
Thanks, David.
Hello.
Why don't you tell us about yourself and what motivates you to want to become a board member?
I am 59. I was born and raised on Ashton Hollow Road. I am the proud partner in the successful 40-year marriage. I have a 40-year nursing career, successful 40-year nursing career. My husband and I own a nice chunk of property and a house that we built from the ground up, paid cash, never carried a mortgage, and my dad, myself, and my husband built it. I have 3 grown daughters who graduated from Southern. I have 5 grandchildren, 3 of which are currently attending Southern. So I am invested in the future of the school.
What key qualities or experiences do you bring to the table to be an effective board member?
As the partner in a 40-year marriage, I can play well with others. As a successful nurse, I learned to be compassionate and to listen to people. Being invested in building my home. If the money wasn't there, the money wasn't spent. I could jump on the accountability and transparency bandwagon, but I think that moving forward, we're moving in the right direction. I just want to be part of the solution. And unfortunately, I had a tragic life event last year that gives me ample time to do what I can to help the school district move forward. Okay,
thank you. William Wetzel.
Mr. Becker.
Wetzel. Why don't you tell us about yourself and what motivates you to want to become a board member?
Well, I've lived in the community for about since '95, so I have 25 years that I live in Elisburg. I did move out for a brief period of time and try my hand in Florida. That didn't work, so we came back. I do have 3 children that are have in the past or currently attending Southern Columbia, and they're in high school level. Basically, I'm a successful business owner for 22 years before I went to Florida, and I really want to give back to the community. That's what I've done my entire time that I've been here in Elisburg, and I've had some success with that.
What key qualities or experiences do you bring to the table to be an effective board member?
Well, like I said, I owned a successful business for 22 years. I've done a lot of community service. I've been a life member of the Elisburg Fire Company. I served as president and treasurer for about 10 to 12 years. I was on the board of supervisors in Ralphville Township for 15 years, in which I was chairman probably 2, 3, 4 years out of that. I was also here throughout my work. I spent some time in the school here as a substitute teacher as well as substitute teaching in Florida. I've coached various youth sports programs. I am a PIAA official, so I work with a lot of the youth on a day-to-day basis. I'm not a yes man for the board, so if that's what you're looking for, I'm not your guy. With my board experience, I'm more a we get different opinions. That's the reason that we have a board, and we come up with a solution. I think that's the way the board needs to work. That's how we worked when I was on the board of supervisors, and that's kind of the way I operate when I'm on a board of this nature. Obviously, being on the board of supervisors, I've made many, many decisions that were difficult, had to be made. Not everybody likes you all the time, and that's okay, but I do have a proven track record of making those decisions, sticking to them, and coming up to the best solution that we can come up with. As far as the fire company supervisor board, I currently work for the state of Pennsylvania. I do a lot of budgeting work, have done a lot of budget stuff over the years. I've been fiscally responsible for public funds and dealt with the budgeting and revenue constraints that go along with that for over 20 years now. So I do have the experience that I bring to the board as far as dealing with some of that revenue constraint and the budgeting process. I will have our children's best interest at heart, and that'll be the forefront of all my decisions, but I will also have the taxpayers' interest at hand too. So it's a balance that we have to make on the board, and it is a business. It needs to be run somewhat like a business, but we do have to take the children into consideration. So if you have any questions, any other?
Good. Thank you. Justin Rodriguez.
Good evening.
Good evening, Justin. Can you tell us about yourself and what motivates you to want to become a board member?
Kids. So since we've moved to Elisburg, my wife and I, we're both Shikeloni graduates. We've always found ourselves planted in a church youth program. Our hearts is vested in working with kids, and the kids are the future of the community. It's one of the best places to start, and as any other country is founded on infrastructure, the kids are what we have to look forward to is the future of this country. What better place to start than taking a position or wanting to take a position as a board member in the school district that my kids will attend. Our daughter starts kindergarten this week with 2 kids to follow in the future. And so I figured that now would be my chance to try and help on a larger scale.
Okay. What key qualities or experiences do you bring to the table to be an effective board member?
So on day-to-day, I work basically as a general manager for my father-in-law's business and oversee work scopes for our technicians in the shop. I deal with product ordering and so many different aspects of working with people in that nature that it will come second nature to working with a team, a group of people to try to come to a best course and try to find the most effective route to guide the district in a positive direction, looking out as stated as for the best for the community, for the kids, and that's the best outcome we want. That's what we look forward to, and I think ultimately that's why everybody's in this room is we want what's best for the kids, we want what's best for the district, we want what's best for the taxpayer, but first and foremost, the kids are a very important aspect. And just learning how to do that. This is new to me. There's a lot of pros I can bring to the table from my past military career, with my business degree, with my day-to-day work. There is a learning curve, obviously. I mean, I'll admit that. To have to work in some of the avenues in which the board does will be new. But, with guidance and direction, I think that we can work to get to the best outcome for the entire situation. So thank you.
Eli Emzo.
Eli?
Hello.
Can you tell us about yourself and what motivates you to want to become a board member?
Sure. My name is Eli Emzo. I am actually a recent Southern grad from 2018. The number one thing that motivates me to become a board member is, I've been in this community since I was little, of course. I went through Southern. I have a strong affinity to Southern, and I really just want to be able to serve the community by helping to shape Southern policy, and that's how I feel like by getting a place on this board that I will be able to do that.
Okay. What key qualities or experiences do you bring to the table to be an effective board member?
Sure. So, given my age, I know it's probably pretty easy to dismiss me, but the number one thing that I would say that I can provide to this board is perspective. Not more than 2 years ago, I was walking these halls. I know exactly I have friends that are still in school. My brother, my sister are still in school. So I know what it's like I know how policies affect us. I know the different educational barriers that we face. Now that I'm in college here, that I see, how my education here at Southern has transformed into my opportunities in school. So that is probably my number one quality that I can offer to the school board. and I have perspective, even from with teachers, the relationships I've built with teachers. I know the struggles they face. I know how board decisions can impact them just as well as the students it affects. And being the son of 2 taxpayers, while I don't pay taxes myself, I do understand the burdens that I know operating a school has on taxpayers as well. And I understand that there are a lot of challenges involved with that. But I believe that just given being a student here with everything, that I can positively have an impact on that as well. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Joshua Young.
Hello, Josh.
Hi, how are you?
Good. Could you tell us about yourself and what motivates you to want to become a board member?
Good evening, everybody. I'm Josh Young. I grew up on Ashton Hollow as well. I graduated here in 2009. Currently, I work over at Bloomsburg University. I'm a refrigeration technician there. I'm married. I have 2 kids. My oldest, Jason, is entering the 3rd grade, and my youngest will be here in a few years. What motivates me to be on the school board? Recently here, we lost half the school board, and that was a huge red flag to me. Especially this year with the COVID crisis, it's not time to be half-staffed. I figured this would be a good time for me to step up and help out as best I can. Don't have much of an educational background. I do coach ASO soccer, U10 boys, and I think I can help if I'm allowed.
What key qualities or experiences do you bring to the table to be an effective board member?
2 things I bring to the table, one being commitment, and the other being the ability or the ability to approach things with an objective mindset. I have a commitment. I will commit to the students here, ensuring that their education is the best that we can provide. I will commit to our taxpayers. I know our residents as well as our property owners, our businesses, and make sure that I hold myself accountable to them. The other thing, being able to approach anything with an objective mindset and being able to analyze it that way. Previously, I worked with a lot of people from a lot of different backgrounds all over the country in the Marine Corps, and you'd always run into conflict, and you'd have to analyze how that person is, what their perspective is, and why they think that way, even if it doesn't change your own perspective. And I will bring that to the table. And last, about commitment, I'm committed to supporting the administration here and working with them.
All right, thank you. Josh Hoglund.
So Josh, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and what motivates you to want to become a board member?
My name is Josh Hoglund. I'm a resident and homeowner in Rockville Township, father of 3 kids. 2 of them are currently students at Southern in 1st and 3rd grade, and the 3rd is itching to get ready for his first day of school, but he's got a while to go yet. I'm also an alumni of Southern Columbia. While I was here, I played football, wrestled, sang in the chorus, and even did a little time in the marching and concert bands. So I've seen a lot of the school and been through a lot of the programs. Right now, I feel burdened that, it's just a very unique time for the school. We're dealing with trying to reopen amongst the virus, which none of us have any experience dealing with. We're also dealing with some budget constraints, financial issues, and also it's just a tough time with our youth and their mental well-being throughout the state and the country. So all those factors have really just driven me to feel like now is the time to make a sacrifice and to put up the time, because I don't really believe in seeing a problem and just pointing it out and say, hey, there's a problem. I believe you got to either step up and be part of the solution, and help fix things. So that's why I'm here tonight.
Okay. What key qualities or experiences do you bring to the table to be an effective board member?
So I'm a small business owner. We have over 20 employees. My brother and I are the two partners. So I have a lot of background in running a decent-sized financial institution with employees, dealing with those HR issues, financial issues. Additionally, when I'm not doing HR and payroll and everything, I'm a professional engineer. And that's a lot of where the drive of trying to solve problems and not just recognize a problem comes from. When I have a bad day at work, somebody gets hurt. And so it's something, when you see a problem, you got to put your full effort into solving it. That same thing applies, I think, at school board. The decisions we make can have very real consequences. People can actually get hurt, whether it be physically or just with their development, moving on in life. I think, they're full-time here. Their full experience builds who they are, and it's important that we give them a good outline, good policies to help them grow. Additionally, my mother was a public school teacher. My father was a previous member of the school board. So I've gotten to sit on, the student side of the fence, seen the teacher side of the fence, and now, the taxpayer and parent side. So, I feel I've gotten exposed to a lot of the different decision-making process that goes in from all angles. Additionally, as part of my job as an engineer, we spend a lot of time in front of municipal boards, supervisors, town councils, planning commissions. Sometimes I'm not the popular one there coming in with a proposed development, but it has given me a lot of experience in having to take sometimes less constructive criticism and learn how to politely respond and come up with possible solutions to all invested parties. And again, that's something that, the school board has to deal with on a regular basis. Somebody else said, sometimes you got to make decisions. Sometimes you don't always get the luxury of 100% of the facts. And oftentimes people are going to get upset. And so it's important to put your best effort into educating yourself, making the right call, and then having the guts to stick with it. Or if you find out you're wrong, to make the right decision and not just sit on it because that's what you said. Because there's a lot more at stake than our own pride or whether we're right or wrong. Like I said, the students' lives, their development, possibly even safety is far more important than that.
Thank you. So that concludes the 9 interviews. Do any of the other board members have any questions for anyone?
I had a question for Dr. Serafini.
Yes. Hold on, Greg. He for someone to hear his answer, he has to.
Oh, okay. The only question I have for you, Doctor, is you got your bachelor's at you say Immaculata?
No, my doctorate's from Immaculata.
And your bachelor's at Bloom.
Mm-hmm.
And you said you're moving from outside the area. Where did you move in from?
I'm originally from Wilkes-Barre, and I met my wife when I was completing my master's program at Bloomsburg University.
Oh, I see.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And you decided to settle in the Leesburg area.
Yep.
Around 2010?
Let's see. It was 2009 that we were married, and then I'd say it was about 2013 when we moved into the area. Mm-hmm.
And Mr. Diehl, he said that he was also.
Hold on. We gotta wait.
Yep, trade spots.
I was just wondering. I did say West Perry. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Is that where you graduated?
Yeah, I graduated from West Perry in 2000, and I moved to the area in 2009 whenever I met my now fiance. She grew up in Elysburg. Okay. And when we got together, she said because I'm not from there at all, she said well, let's find a place in Elysburg. We rented a place for, I think, 4 or 5 years, and then 3 years ago, we bought our house on Bear Gap Road.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Welcome.
Does anybody else have any questions? Josh, Drew, Bree?
I'm good. Tony, your wife works for the district, correct?
I'm back. Yes, my wife is, this year she's moved into 8th grade social studies.
Okay. And there's not going to be any, I understand this is kind of personal on a level or anything like that, but as far as some of the things that we deal with on a confidential basis, there's not going to be any concerns or anything like that. Obviously, we all have significant others, but I know sometimes it's tough with having someone in the district at the same time. Just a thought I wanted to throw out there.
No, not at all. And I mean, obviously I deal with confidential information day to day in my work through students, but also I deal very heavily with personnel matters in my work as a school administrator. So I totally, understand the confidentiality piece, and by no means would I ever share any confidential information with anyone.
Okay, I figured that would be the response, but I just like to throw it out there. Thank you.
Josh or Bree, any questions?
Hey, this is Josh. I don't have any questions. I just wanted to say this is an awesome group of people to come out to fill these spots, and I don't think we can make a bad choice here, which says a lot about all of you and this community and everyone's concern and interest in the well-being of our kids and the district as a whole. So I just want to say thank you to everybody who came out, regardless of who ends up being selected here. We can't make a bad choice, and that's both hard and quite awesome to be in this position at this point. So thank you.
All right, I guess at this time I'll ask you guys to submit your forms via email, and we'll take a couple minutes here, break, and report back here in a few minutes.
Are we offline?
No, we'll stay on.
And as soon as you two have yours done, you will enter them so that it all tallies.
Oh, over there. Okay, I'll be over in a second. There, you can be done. You want to go in there? You have to go over and enter your.
Yeah, I can.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm not.
No, but I was going to tell you that there's such a great group of people here that comes from one design. You give another spot.
Just need you to do it.
Yeah, unless you want me to, Teresa.
No, that's all right. I can do it.
I like that face mask over there you got there. Are you not wearing it now?
Hmm? Oh, the other one? Yeah. No, my glasses were closed.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I still have blank problems. Okay. Reg. And you can't give anybody the same number. You have to have 1 to 9.
Oh, I didn't know that. Now you gotta do it all.
Yeah. 1 through 9, Greg.
Do you want to do?
Oh, I didn't read this.
Oh. Well, actually, anybody could do it if they come through.
Oh.
I was just angry.
Oh, sure, it's my fault.
Wow, I have to blame it on somebody.
Josh, Bree, and Drew, have you three submitted your forms?
Yes.
Yeah, Bree and I submitted as well.
Yes, Jason.
Did yours go through, Paige?
Yeah.
Did they not come through, or?
I have 4 of them here, but for some reason.
Did Greg hit submit?
I did, and it gave me an error message that it was. For me to leave without saving. All I did was hit submit.
Mr. President, as we're waiting, we will have the agenda hearing period, but there are a couple questions that I think we can answer now, if that's okay.
Sure.
And I'll just regarding the interview process. Mike Lester from the Press Enterprise wants me to email him a list of school board candidates interviewed tonight, so he can get the spellings of the names accurate, so we can do that. Lawrence Dolinsky from the news item. Excuse me, Dick Linsky from the news item. Based on the applications received by the Southern Columbia School District, what are the ages, municipalities, and occupations of the people who applied to be members of the school board? This can be emailed tonight as well. I think we have definitely names and municipalities, ages. Some of them may have discussed that, but I don't think we have the ages per se. Is that something we want to?
I don't think the age is important.
Yeah, we can get them municipalities and occupations. And then another from Lawrence Deklinski. Last week, it was reported Southern Columbia had 12 applicants. Tonight, there are only 9 were interviewed. How many applications did the district receive, and what was the reason for only 9 interviews? We did receive 12 applications. We had 3 applicants withdraw their names, which left us 9. And last, Lloyd Shively, Cleveland Township. Just wanted to say, as a Southern Columbia teacher, I'm proud to see all the Southern Columbia alumni running for school board. There are the 6. To answer Mr. Deklinski's question, Beth Unger, she is from Ralpho Township?
Well, that's where I originally, I'm in Catawissa now.
Catawissa, okay.
Yeah.
She's an occupational therapist. Anthony Serafini, he lives in Ralpho Township, and he works for the CSIU. Ryan Diehl lives in Cleveland Township, I think, and he is a restaurant manager.
Yep.
Okay. Cynthia Brassington lives in Roaring Creek Township.
Locust Township.
Locust Township, okay. And she's a nurse.
Yep.
William Wetzel lives in Ralpho Township, and he works for the state government, correct?
Commonwealth.
Okay. Justin Rodriguez, he lives in Ralpho Township, and his profession is
General manager.
General manager. Eli lives in
Locust
Township, and he is a student.
Yep.
Joshua Young lives in Cleveland Township.
Franklin Township.
Franklin Township.
Yes, sir.
Just over the line, okay. And works at Bloomsburg University.
Correct.
As you
Refrigeration
said.
technician.
Refrigeration. Josh Hoglund lives in Ralpho Township, and he is a small business owner, engineer. Okay, hope that answers that for Mr. Deklinski.
So close.
So while they're finishing up again, I want to echo Josh's words. I can't thank you all enough for coming out tonight. It just seemed the other day as the members were falling off, and I've been on the board for quite a while, and sometimes we struggled to get one person to come to an interview, and there were times where we were 2 members short. So I can't thank you all enough for spending your time here. We're just waiting on the process. So basically, all the board members rank people 1 through 9. Not saying that the 4 people with the lowest score will be the ones we'll obviously have a discussion. If the rest of the board feels comfortable with that, then we'll move on and vote. But that's how we set up this process.
Reese, did you get everybody?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Just about finished.
It was Greg.
It doesn't matter which numbers, but they were close. It's those 4.
You see it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right.
She just needs your tablet back.
Oh.
Just pull the paper off.
So be
In no particular
okay.
order, but those are the top 4.
All right. I'll read the rest of the names off, and then if we need to have a discussion, was Anthony Serafini, Josh Hoglund, Eli Emzo, and Cynthia Brassington. Does anybody have any comments or questions before we go to the agenda hearing period? All right, at this time, the purpose of the agenda hearing period is to permit residents in the audience to make statements to the board of directors on action items on the agenda. At this time, we will accept comments from district residents and/or district property owners on action items on the agenda via Microsoft Forms. If you are a district resident or property owner and would like to make a comment on action items, please access the public comment form by clicking the link in board docs on the district Facebook page or website to submit your comment. And we'll give people a few minutes before we. And Josh, Drew, and Bree, you're okay with those 4 names?
If those are the 4 names that came up, I'm good with it.
Okay.
This is Josh. I have no issue with any of those, and like I said, I would support any of the candidates here that the board comes up with.
I'm good with all 4 too.
Again, I didn't have an issue with any of them, so it could have been any one of the 9. I think all the candidates were fantastic, and I hope that they continue to put forth the comments and the forms and stuff like that and still participate in the meetings.
Any more, Jim?
Just one more from Larry Diklinski from News Item. He's just asking us to email him the 9 applicants' names for spelling purposes. That's all I have right now.
You want to wait a few more minutes, or?
You can give it another minute if you like. There are a couple other comments, but we'll wait at the end. It's not for.
They're not agenda hearing period. Okay.
Jim, if you refresh your screen, the names will be on the motion.
more?
There are no more.
All right, at this time, the chair is looking for a motion to appoint the following individuals to fill the vacancies on the Southern Columbia Area School District Board of Directors, effective August 24th, 2020, with terms ending in 2021. Josh Hoglund, Anthony Serafini, Eli Emzo, and Cynthia Brassington. Do we have a motion?
So moved, Josh.
I'll second Brick.
All those in favor, roll call, please.
Drew Hampton,
Yes.
Greg Levon,
No.
Brianna Majeski,
Yes.
Josh Majeski,
Yes.
Tim Boat.
Yes.
4-1.
I have to ask though. I know it's past 4-1, but Greg, if you had a question or if there was anything that was brought up that could have been discussed, I would hope that you would have brought that up why you voted no.
You can talk about that in an executive session.
Actually, Greg, I don't know if you can.
I don't think you can.
Well, if we can, I'll tell you personally later.
Okay, I was. If there was something that was meaningful that we should have looked at, I would have hoped that you would have said it.
I think we passed by some better qualified people.
Okay.
All right, Teresa, it's all you. Again, I can't thank you all enough for coming out tonight. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, that's on me.
So this time, Teresa's going to administer you guys a note.
I'm good at it.
So why would the board not went into executive session to discuss the candidates prior to coming out with decisions?
We have to do that publicly. We cannot have discussions.
For personnel issues, you can go in sunshine law. Says you can go in for personnel.
Not on the school board.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Yeah, it's spelled out directly in the law for school or the school code for appointing members for vacancies.
Do you need the financial forms for even the non-accepted applicants?
No, just for the candidates who were successful. Okay, can I have the 4 candidates? Please stand here and raise your hand.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Repeat after me. I do solemnly swear
I do solemnly swear
that I will support, obey, and defend
that I will support, obey, and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of this Commonwealth,
and the Constitution of this Commonwealth,
and that I will discharge the duties
and that I will discharge the duties
of my office with fidelity.
of my office with fidelity.
Okay, I have a signature. Eli, do you want to come up here first? Okay, you grab the first pen. These have all been sanitized, so we're all good.
Mrs. Bridge, this is Mr. Davis. If possible, if you could send me the correct spellings of all the new board members, I'll try to work on email addresses right now.
Okay, thank you. Yep, that's all you need.
On the agenda.
Oh, yes, it is on the agenda. Josh.
Thank you, my fault.
Oh, thank you. Oh, Eli, you have your. Thank you. 24th, yes. Okay, it's on there. All right, Anthony? Oh, thank you. And Cindy. Thank you. I am new on 4 members. There's 2 seats there and 2 seats here.
Welcome.
Come on up here.
Now, 9 board members.
All right, at this time, we'll move on to the superintendent's report.
We'll eventually get everyone a Southern Columbia email, and we'll get you a login. And then when we have board meetings, and we plan on doing board meetings virtually, so you're welcome to be virtually, or we'll be in communication. I'll personally be in touch with you to kind of go over, what to expect regarding board and get some of your input, what you're looking for individually. We'll have those meetings, and then I will get that login information for you. So, but for right now, we'll just have everybody pay attention to the board up here for our agenda. A couple things under the superintendent's report, just a couple of technology updates regarding devices and hotspots. First of all, I'd like to thank Mr. Davis, Mr. Meta, Mr. Roberts for Friday night and Saturday having some distributing times for hotspots and laptops. We did have some number of people that we still have to get hotspots and laptops to that have signed up. Regarding the hotspots, we only initially had 90, which covered our special education population who requested and also our free and reduced population. When we saw the numbers last week, we did order a hotspot for everyone who requested. We were able to, I did some calling and investigating regarding some of the money in our CARES Act, and we were able to be able to move some monies around to take care of the hotspot need regarding the hotspots. So as soon as we get them in and we get them, Mr. Davis gets them updated and we get them working properly, we will be in contact. In fact, we'll be in contact with tomorrow with the people who weren't contacted already for the hotspots. We'll be in contact with them tomorrow, and hopefully as soon as we get them, within a few days when we get them, we'll get the other 110 hotspots out to everyone else.
Is there an estimated ship date on those?
Mr. Davis, do we have a ship date on those?
They are here. I think half of them are here, came this afternoon. They are actually still in the box. I'm trying to look at how many boxes are there. I don't think they're all here. They could be. I did not get a chance to even take them out of the boxes yet. It will take us a few days to configure them, and I have to be very honest, the next couple of days will be very crazy for us, and we'll try our best, but we'll try our best.
We'll get them out to the people ASAP.
Mr. Becker, I know Service Electric was offering free internet throughout the fall. I don't know, was that looked at? I'm assuming not everybody was a matter of not having cable. For some people, it's a financial matter that they might be able to take advantage of the free Service Electric.
Mr. Hoglund, I can address that. So they did offer something. I did think we promoted it. You did have to have existing cable to your house. So you had to have a current cable TV hookup to your house to take advantage of that. I actually had talked to a Service Electric technician who had worked with our school district in the past, and that's what you had to have. You had to have an existing cable connection already to your house.
I assume
we have many families that don't have any service electric service at all, so they're at a lot.
Right. I know there's a lot of people very rural.
Josh.
Okay.
What's the number on that, Jim? Is it about 140 or 160 families that don't have service?
We had besides the 90, we had approximately 110. Okay. Now since then, there's been a couple numbers. People have purchased their own hotspots, or they decided they didn't need them for whatever. So those numbers are coming down a little bit. So we're probably going to be less than that 110 that we do. Currently, we have some positions, and I wanted to talk about them a little bit. We have a maintenance personnel position open full-time, maintenance specialist. We also have 2 full-time custodians, first or second shift. We also have an assistant head cook, which is a full-time position. So just, since this is out in public, I wanted to put those positions out there. These positions are highly regarded and needed by our school community. So if you're interested in looking for something, we do have some positions, full-time positions open in the district. One last thing, I do have, I would request an executive session after the meeting to discuss personnel issues. That's all I have, Mr. President.
Okay, thank you. At this time, the chair is looking for a motion to approve the minutes of July 13th and July 20th. We have a motion. Motion by Greg, second by Drew. Roll call, please.
Greg Plavon.
Yes.
Brianna Majeski.
Yes.
Josh Majeski.
Yes.
Pope.
Yes.
Drew Hampton.
Yes.
Oh, hold on, I forgot I have to add all these new people. Cynthia Brassington.
Yes.
Anthony Serafini.
Yes.
Josh Hoglund.
I'm going to abstain since I wasn't here for that.
And Eli Emzo.
I'll abstain as well.
Okay. 7 and 2 abstentions.
All right, next is items fiscal. At this time, the chair is looking for a motion to award the bid for supplemental cleaning services for the 2021 school district year to Tri-State Cleaning Systems, subject to execution of a contract for cleaning services acceptable to the district. We have a motion.
On the question. Question.
We should have a motion in a second first before we have any discussion.
With no motion, do we tape?
Before we do any type of motion, can we hear what they came up with as far as phone calls, or do we have to make the motion to award this before we have a discussion? I'm just curious. Last time we weren't able to get a hold of any of their references, and we were having trouble finding any references in Pennsylvania.
What you can do is you can do your motion in second. This is Crystal Edwards from Carl Beard's office. Excuse me. So you can do your motion in second, and then at that point you can discuss whatever it is you want about the contract, keeping in mind that the discussion will be public knowledge. So any figures that would be thrown out would be, so they'd be heard by the public. And then you can move for a vote at that point. If the board's not comfortable voting, it would want to table it, you could table the vote at that point. But first you would do the motion and the second in order to discuss.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Motion.
Greg made a motion.
I second it.
All right, at this time, let's have a discussion. Sure.
Is Scott on here, or is he there?
Scott, he was on here. I can address it because we were kind of working together on this.
The question I have is Tri-State Cleaning Systems they have local cleaners that they hire within our district here, because their bid is basically $30,000, and the other bid from Catawissa, 3D Consultant Services, is $36,000.
Right.
So my concern is we're going to pay Tri-State Cleaning less, but where are they coming from to do the cleaning? And do we ever have 3D Consultant Services prior? Have any experience with them?
Yes,
this is the first I've seen this. I did see it earlier when I reviewed it, but these are the questions I have.
Okay. We did have 3B in the past. Mm-hmm. Tri-State was the lowest bid. Also, we did some reference checks, and they did turn out one of the references was the State Police Barracks in Shinny. That's the most local area that, or company that they
State
do.
police barracks is in a school building.
And there was no school building references. Again, it was a state police barracks reference. They did have, proper insurances and stuff. We sent them the contract. So as this motion says, that based on execution of the contract, of them signing the contract, and with the contract, they have to follow everything on that contract, or we could terminate the contract. If you look at the contract, that contract came through Carl Beard this afternoon actually, and then we got it right out to Tri-State.
Mr. Becker, I have a question. As part of the contract, did they issue any guarantees that they would be able to staff and actually complete the jobs?
Well, verbally, absolutely. They did say that. I have talked with them. Mr. Tom Cabbage has talked with them. We're talking with Mr. Beard, or Carl Beard, our attorney. Having this contract in place would be to our benefit to have this. If we run into issues of them not staffing or them not cleaning well, we would then have an opportunity of an out.
Thank you.
I guess how do they want to be paid? You pay them monthly?
I'm not sure.
An annual.
Generally, we pay them monthly.
Okay, so if they're not doing a job 1 month, we can get rid of them the next month and we're out of the contract.
We would have to go through a documentation process.
I'm still concerned that it says here they're going to clean the Nesbitt gym, lobby and restrooms, Nesbitt gym locker rooms and referee rooms, ramp from the old gym, Nesbitt gym to the old gym. I mean, there's weight room, wrestling room. Where are they going to get the staff from to do this? Are they going to send them up there every day from Rahway, New Jersey, or wherever the heck they're from? When we have somebody over the hill in Catawissa, I feel that we should table this until we have more information on this.
Hold on, Greg. I have two questions. So one, Jim, is in that contract, does it state if we are virtual here that we no longer have to pay them?
That's what we asked Carl to put in there.
So, okay, and it's in there for sure?
Yeah, it's in there.
And then two, I guess this goes to our solicitor. Do we have to accept the low bid on this contract? I'm sorry, what was her name?
Sorry, I was trying to find the contract on your board docs and then switch screens. Your question is if you have to accept the low bid on the contract.
Yeah, that was my question. Do we have to accept the low bid?
Give me a second to find out, and then I'll let you know. If you can use, generally what it is would be the lowest bid is more of the guiding, but let me see if there's an exception for even if something's not the lowest bid, if there's some other kind of qualifier that can allow you to accept a higher one given an XYZ circumstance. Just let me look into that really quick.
Okay, thank you. The reason I asked that question is we had a low bid before, along with 3B. We took the lower bid. It didn't work out. The cleaning was not getting done. We wound up removing that individual cleaning service and going back to 3B. They have worked well for the district over the years. That's my concern with somebody from the outside, especially from New Jersey.
That's what I'm concerned about.
Quick question. Do we always hire an outside cleaning service for those areas as opposed to our own janitorial staff just because of the volume and area?
We have in the past few years just because we struggle to, we have job openings now for janitors and can't fill them.
Understood.
And those were just areas that we could never clean with the staff that we had. And now, again, we're short staffed, so.
Are these cleaning
services too that it's cheaper to hire an outside service rather than add more janitors and pay them the workman's comp and maybe the health benefits and et cetera. This way, it's just like Fulton. They supply the drivers, they supply the buses, the maintenance. It works out to be much more advantageous for the school district financially to have Fulton do do a blessing.
They should get a memorandum of understanding a few.
If you want to discuss the current janitorial and custodial staff, we can move into an executive session. The motion on the floor is strictly for this tri-state agreement.
But all of that is relevant to this discussion as to whether or not have adequately been able to clean all of the spaces. It's not related specifically to any person or any position. It's just the janitorial staff as a whole has not been able to adequately or effectively clean this in addition to the rest of the building. While we're still trying to figure out whether or not we have to accept the low bid, which I'm very interested to hear, Mr. Becker, with this contract, if we contract Tri-State and they fail to perform their services up to our expectations, one, who in the district is going to be responsible for identifying that, giving the appropriate feedback, documenting everything, and then two, with all of that, how long will this drag out that we will have to go through documentation in order to terminate this contract if we so choose? Is this going to drag on for months, or is this something that they failed to perform, we gave them feedback, and the following week I know what it says in there about termination, there's a 10-day written notice. So what does that actually look like in practice for how long we could go with, say, no cleaning or ineffective cleaning occurring before we're able to get someone else in if we need to?
Are we going to incur any legal expenses to terminate the contract?
That as well. That's the next question.
I think, if we were going to terminate the contract, it definitely would contact our solicitor. I think in today's day, Josh, I think we really need to have good quality, strong quality, especially in those areas. So there'll be very little leeway in quality expected. If this was not the case, I would be forced to terminate the contract based on lack of performance.
Mr. Becker, I do have one additional question regarding the two separate contracts. Were they comparable in what they were offering? I know in some of our buildings we're using electrostatic sprayers, types of materials and cleaners. Were they similar?
Yeah, they would be using our equipment. Mm-hmm. They're just supplying the manpower. Okay. So, and we have purchased two EMIS machines, which are electrostatic machines, and they would be. We actually have assigned one person in each building to be doing that electrostatic across the whole building.
And how frequently do they do that?
Do it every night.
Every night.
Every night.
So, Mr. Becker, this is Josh again. Just what do you think the turnaround would be if we were unhappy? Are we talking within a month? Or
if the quality, the workmanship was not there, we would have zero leeway for that. We would have to look to terminate right away. We couldn't come to some kind of quick resolution. We wouldn't not wait 20, 30 days. It might be we have an issue here, we need to remedy it. It's not remedied immediately. We work to terminate the contract. And again, Josh, we don't have, with the way today is, we don't have the leeway of putting up substandard quality, especially with the corona and virus, the things that we're dealing with. And so we're expecting high quality, especially with our custodial crew.
So, Mr. Becker, who would be responsible for terminating? Would it be you, Scott, or Denise?
I'm
sure Scott would be the point man. He would be one checking up on it, or we'd get feedback from the people in those areas, our phys ed people, our coaches, and then we would address it. I'm sure Scott would come to me, and then ultimately it would be me to make that decision to terminate the contract if we were going to go that way.
In Article 4 in the contract, it states termination. This agreement shall terminate on or before May 27, 2021, or for work not deemed satisfactory by the district. And that's all it basically says as far as terminating. There's nothing in here that says who's going to decide whether this work is deemed satisfactory. There's no definition of that.
I think it also says that we can terminate without written notice or cause. So I don't even think that we have to necessarily give any type of written paperwork. If it's deemed unsatisfactory at that point in time, I would tend to think, I would hope, unless I'm reading it wrong, we can.
Your last time we had an issue with it was pretty swift. Identifying the issues, they weren't remedied. It was pretty swift in our termination.
I don't think there was any lack of coverage.
No.
That'd be my concern. Like, what is the turnaround from terminating this contract and starting another one? Because I don't think we can really afford to go a day without proper cleaning, let alone 10 days or whatever.
We'd be looking to cover those areas with our people, and then looking for someone else. Now, right now, we do have another company. It's a little higher bid, but we would try to move on that immediately.
Two final questions and a thought. Did this contractor Tri-State actually walk through the facilities?
Yes.
Okay. If cost not a factor, what would be your recommendation based on your conversations with you? Because we don't have any benefit.
We've had good experiences with 3B, so and they were always willing to take a phone call right away, come down here right away, give us, some extra help. If they ran into coverage problems, they were in communication. And there's, again, all the benefits of someone local.
Okay. Did we determine, is there a local branch for the Tri-State, or is everybody strictly out of New Jersey?
I don't know if they're...
You didn't give me when I asked
I
for
can't
an
imagine
address.
them driving a crew of people up there every day to clean the school. That's my initial question was, do they have local people hired here in this area that work for them?
I just worry if there's an emergency or something that needs to be taken care of. You don't want to wait 3 hours for someone to come in.
Get something cleaned up. Where are they going to come from? That was my one concern about that. They were in New Jersey, and I don't think we have enough information on how they're going to staff our school. Clean it every day. Are they going to?
The clearances that I got were from a fairly local individual. Not within the district, but a fairly local.
So my final thought was that any which way we go, I think it makes sense to give Mr. Becker the authority to terminate the contract on our behalf, so that we're not trying to schedule a special meeting over something like faulty cleaning.
My other concern is we're using that gymnasium now as our lunchroom. So to meet the social distancing needs, kids are going to be eating lunch in there every day. It's going to be imperative that we clean it.
I agree with what Tim said. I'm pretty risk averse when it comes to this situation this school year, because we may not be able to have gym class. More importantly, we may not be able to give kids lunch. If we can't give kids lunch, we can't have them there. And I think when you look at the cost benefit, there's a significant upside to having somebody local who has proven good work in our district, even if it comes at a little extra cost. I think that the headache factor and the impact to the students and staff could be much more significant than the $6,000 if we have a failure of this lower bid.
Yeah. And the other thing, Bree, is the only recommendation that we have for their work locally is the state police barracks, and they're not even, they're about the size of this library we're sitting in here tonight. So that's not a very good comparison for me as far as what kind of work they may do satisfactory work in a smaller area, but we're talking about a large school. And I'm not, if 3B, I'm all about saving money, but I want to make sure this school is clean for the kids and clean the right way and every day.
I guess the question we're waiting on is from our attorney then. Do we have to accept the low bid?
Jim, real quick, is there any other places that we looked into besides Shikshini Police Barracks, did we talk to anyone else outside of the area that had anything to say about the this tri-state contractor?
Now, again, Scott got 2 other references that he checked on, and they were actually out of state. They were in New Jersey, and those references were positive. Neither one of them were schools. They were
have a contract.
Just didn't work.
Yeah, basically, I'm just looking them up on Yelp here, and all home offices in this house, and they have 4 reviews anyways. Take that for what you will.
I had the same concerns as you, and I did. Carl did say we had to go with the lowest bid, so I'm just curious to see what Crystal comes back with.
Unless, it depends, if you already put out a bid and didn't have a restriction in it, or something saying that it has to be available within 1 hour notice, you'll have to do the lowest bid.
All right, if that's the case, then I move that we amend this motion to withdraw all bids, or withdraw the cancel all bids and return them to the bidders. That's what I move. I move to amend this motion to cancel all bids and send them back to the bidders, and we'll re-advertise for a new bid then after that. That's separate from this motion.
There was a motion and a second to rescind them.
So if, just procedurally wise, whoever had done the first and the second on it would then need to amend respectively the motion if that's the one, or you can vote on it as it is. Vote.
If I make the motion to amend it and there's a second for the amendment, and then we vote on the amendment, then we can vote on the actual, right? Is that correct?
As I'm understanding, the motion on the floor is to approve the agreement with Tri-State, award the bid and approve the agreement with Tri-State. So whoever had first and seconded that, if they would like to amend it to withdraw, you can. Otherwise, you could just vote.
How do we get to the point where we can amend the request for bids to include you must be able to respond within 1 hour or some similar language? How do we add that additional restrictive language that we would like to see that was not included in the original advertisement for bids?
That would be an entirely new motion that you could do. So you can either table this one or downvote it if you want, whatever the board would want to do, and then you can have a motion brought from the floor to re-advertise for it with a type of restriction added to the bid language. Be aware, though, that the public can then comment on the motion from the floor.
And do we have an answer yet on whether or not we must accept the low bid as it stands?
Yes, she said yes.
I didn't understand the answer. Is that a yes, we have to accept the low bid and there's no other option there?
I didn't see the bid, but based on the information that I've received through this meeting, whatever the lowest bid is, unless there was a condition of some kind within the bidding that would have excluded something else, then yes.
Denise, are you able to provide her with that information? Because I thought we had this discussion with Carl previously, and that we were not going to have to take the low bid if we were unsatisfied for any reason.
I move to table until we sort this mess out.
As I said,
second the table. I was the one that seconded the original motion.
Doesn't matter. As long as I move and someone seconds it, now there's a motion on the floor to table it.
I'm just worried procedurally.
We have to go back and either vote on it or amend the.
Greg made the first motion.
Yes.
None of that matters. There's a move. I moved to table. Drew seconded the move to table. Now we can discuss the motion to table and vote on the motion to table, and we can't do anything else under Robert's rules until we now vote on the motion to table. That's correct. I have my cheat sheet in front of me. I'm not making this up.
We could vote on it. We could vote on the motion and the second.
Okay, I'm going to do a roll call on the motion
To table.
Brianna Majeski.
Yes.
Josh Majeski.
Yes.
Tim Vogt.
Yes.
Cindy Brassington.
Yes.
Anthony Serafini.
Yes.
Josh Hoglund.
Yes.
Eli Emzo.
Yes.
Drew Hampton.
Yes.
Rex Levon.
Yes.
Okay, 9 in favor to table.
I would have taken care of it. They didn't get the contract. We're just backtracking. We could have made another.
I guess the biggest concern I have is we start school tomorrow and we don't have a contract in place. So I guess my question to Scott is, how are we going to clean that area without a contract in place?
We're gonna have to cover with our people. So there'll be overtime. There'll be some overtime.
Okay, that's fine.
Denise, are you able to give us any clarification as to what that initial bid was so that maybe we can actually act on this tonight?
Brianna, the bid was very minimal. It basically just had the areas that needed to be cleaned.
Prior to this year, there was no contract with this. So the bid that went out, my conversation with Carl was we should have a contract with the bid. So that's why Carl came in to create the contract for the bid. Again, my conversations with Carl in the past were that we would have to take the lowest bid. So that's what I was trying to share with everybody. And I said, if Crystal came back with something different, then that's fine.
It is actually on our bid specifications and disposal under the business office. The bid is still there. The request for bids is still there. I could actually copy that, I believe, and send it to you in an email.
So, Mr. Becker, in the past, we've just asked an outside contractor to clean these areas without a contract. We paid them an hourly or whatever the fee was weekly.
It was agreed upon. It was an agreed upon amount. I'm pretty sure it was board approved.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, it was board approved. There was just no contract.
Just a proposal.
Right. There was no contract regarding this system. So when talking with Carl regarding the bids, he thought the contract would be needed. That's where we got Carl involved to create the contract.
So to the point that we start school tomorrow, if we were to approve the tri-state contract tonight, they are going to show up and clean tomorrow?
They were going to be on site tomorrow at 6 p.m.
Thank you.
So I guess my thought is whether they can be within an hour or not. It sounds like the person they gave the reference for is within an hour. If we want to have somebody lined up, we're sort of handcuffed to go with them. And if they're not doing the job, we've got to act quick.
Mr. Becker, do you think, given our existing custodial staff and the short notice that we're putting on, if we did table this vote, would our existing people be able to do the job tomorrow?
We would put that task upon them. We are down 2 custodians. We have 2 full-time, possibly 3. But again, so we are already short custodians. But we would have to. There would be no choice in it. We'd have to do it. We'd have to get the job done.
Scott, do you have a plan in place to make this happen?
The only plan I have is to mandate everybody to work overtime.
And can it be done if people work overtime?
What's that?
Can the job get done if they work overtime?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how much overtime it's going to take because, like Mr. Becker said, we're already down 2 custodians. So them areas also have to be cleaned. So you may be talking, they may be working 12, 14 hours a day. As it is right now, if we don't hire them, I basically am going to have to make up over four different people. I'm going to have to make up.
So this is Josh. I just want to be clear on this, that our solicitor position is that we must accept the low bid, that we don't have any discretion here, that we can't. I thought it was we have to award it to the lowest responsible bidder, and that the definition of responsible is really at our discretion. And that is the concern here.
If you're bringing the same motion back up that was already tabled, is that what you're doing? You
oh
can
my God.
Move to vote on it.
I move to. We are holding an executive session after this, correct, for personnel. I'd like to add to that additionally contract and negotiations.
So my question again is, do we want to do anything else with this tonight, or are we leaving it tabled? Because our meeting cannot possibly be until September 8th.
I would. That's why I'm asking the question, and I don't know what our solicitor's recommendation is here. I'm trying to understand if there's any reason to bring this back up. Do we have to take the low bid, or is it the lowest responsible bid? And is it at our discretion to choose which is responsible and which is not? Because all of the discussion tonight has been that no one has reasonable faith that Tri-State will actually be able to execute this in accordance with the terms and conditions up to our expectations and standards. So to me, that would mean they are not the lowest responsible bidder. They're just the lowest bidder. And 3B, the only other bidder, is the actual lowest responsible bidder. If that is the case, I'd like to make a motion that we approve it with 3B. But if that's not the case, then there's no point in bringing a motion to the floor to table it again. Is that clear?
Yes. But where's
Can we get an answer from the solicitor?
Where's he at to answer the question?
Hold on.
Let her talk. Where's he
at
at to answer the question? That's what we're paying him for.
Carl was at another meeting tonight.
Okay, so who are we talking to now?
So
Secretary, or are we talking to an attorney?
No, Crystal's an attorney. Working for Carl's firm.
What you can do is you can rebid it with the conditions that you're requesting, with having it being local or whichever other RFP you want. You can reject the current bid and then have the administration work with the solicitor to establish parameters of the services.
All right, so there are multiple cases related to municipal bidding where the lowest responsible bidder is defined as one for sound discretion of the proper municipal authority and does not necessarily mean the one whose bid on its face is the lowest in dollars, but includes financial responsibility, also integrity, efficiency, industry, experience, promptness, and ability to successfully carry out the particular undertaking. And we are arguing that we don't think Tri-State can do that. So we have to rebid this and add specific language is the recommendation of our solicitor right now. Is that correct? I just want to make sure I understand what the recommendation is.
Correct.
Okay.
So here's a question for Scott. Is there, and Jim, is there a way if we turn down this bid and put it back out for open it up for rebidding, or open it up so that way we can include other information into the bid? Is there a way of contacting someone, an independent contractor, that would be able to cover this area for an agreed upon amount until the bid comes in? Or is that illegal as well?
We looked into this to help cover some of the custodians that that we're not covering right now because of the two openings. We talked to Ask Me today, and they are not in agreement of letting us do this. Now, this would be something that if we already have an MOU regarding this with the ASME union. If we wanted to re-advertise, we could possibly, because we already have an MOU, for short term, try to get another party to come in here to do it on a short term until we get this bid worked out. So I guess my
I'm just trying to find a way that we can cover this. I don't think with 4 custodians down, it's going to force more custodians to resign, working them 12 to 14 hours. So I'm just looking for a way that we can get Scott help for this area in the meantime while we put out a new bid. Is there a way of doing that, or is that unable to be done?
I would think in this case, because we already have an MOU covering those areas.
So we should be able to call if we have an independent contractor someplace, somewhere that would be willing to help us until the bid is awarded, which is if we advertise it here for the next 2 weeks or whatever, the next meeting would be the 8th of September. So it would have to be for the next potential 2 to 3 weeks. That we would have to have somebody there to be able to help them. Again, if we're down 4 people, and we're eating lunch in this area, it has to be cleaned. Otherwise, there's no way. So one way or another, we need this area cleaned.
And I agree. So I think we can maybe look for something short term. And then with that, it wouldn't meet the bid or even, wouldn't meet the bid threshold that we could do on a short term until we can get this re-advertised and rebid. Unless Crystal unless we can't do that. But I know we have an MOU for those areas with the ASME union. So we wouldn't be taking work away from the ASME union. We just would need contracted work on a short term until we can get the bids re-advertised and recollected.
So I guess with that being said, at this time we look for a motion to reject these bids so we can get started on the process. But before we do that, we probably should go to an agenda hearing period because that's a new motion on the floor. So if you guys don't mind waiting, is that acceptable to ask for a motion and a second to reject these?
So I move to reject all bids and re-advertise.
That was Josh.
This is Josh.
I second.
Bree seconded it.
Second. All right.
Now recommend we get public input.
The agenda hearing period, we'll give the public a couple of minutes here, and then we'll have to move forward. anything in?
I just have one that doesn't have to do with this topic.
All right, can we have a roll call, please?
Josh Majeski?
Yes.
Is it too late to get a question in?
No,
Is this a combined motion to withdraw and re-advertise? And if so, do you
Yes,
want-
that was the motion, was to reject all bids and re-advertise.
Do we want to add specific language on the re-advertisement so we don't end up back here?
Yes, the board didn't approve the initial language for the bid. That was the administration. So re-advertise per the terms of the administration's desires.
Okay, so Josh, you were a yes, correct?
Yes, I'm sorry.
Tim Vogt?
Yes.
Cindy Brassington?
Yes.
Anthony Serafini?
Yes.
Josh Hoglund?
Yes.
Eli Emzo?
Yes.
Drew Hampton?
Yes.
Greg Clebon?
Yes.
Brianna Majeski?
Yes.
9-0.
Okay, at this time we're moving on to personnel. If it's suitable, can we do personnel items A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J as a block? Does anybody have any problem with voting those as a block? At this time, the chair is looking for a motion to approve items personnel. Motion by Greg.
Second.
Second by Drew. We have a roll call, please. I'm sorry.
Discussion.
We have discussion.
I was just reading over the contract for Beringer. The only thing I saw was that under number 5 here, it says that the payroll will be $16.75, but in parentheses it's $18.75. I don't know which one it would be exactly, but before we go forward.
It's the 18th.
Okay.
Clarify that, and I will remember. Good catch. Are you okay with the vote?
One more quick question on the contract for Chris Kreischer. In references, is he already a 5-day-a-week employee with the district?
He is. He's a part-time paraprofessional, and then he also does some. He does school police work with us as well.
Okay, so for Mr. Perringer's, it's specified that the hours each day to be here is. I didn't see that in Mr. Kreischer's. Maybe I missed it. Is he here every single day as well?
Yes. Yeah, he's a full-time school police
Okay.
officer.
That's all.
No.
It's section 7 of his contract, Mr. Hoglund.
Yeah.
But Chris is not.
Right, Chris is not.
He has about 2.5 hours police work.
Is there any more discussion? Can we have a roll call, please?
Tim Vogt?
Yes.
Cindy Brassington?
Yes.
Anthony Serafini?
Yes.
Josh Hoglund?
Yes.
Eli Emzo?
Yes.
Drew Hampton?
Yes.
Greg Clebon?
Yes.
Brianna Majeski?
Yes.
Josh Majeski?
Yes.
0 in favor.
All right, this time we'll take board comments. I'll start it off by thanking you guys again for stepping up to the plate. Thank you very much, and I look forward to working with all of you.
Thank you.
Does anybody else have any board comment?
Yeah, it's Bree. I want to echo what Tim said. I'm really excited to have people who understand what a commitment this is that are willing to jump in because we definitely need the help and we definitely need the ideas and the discussion. So thank you guys very much and look forward to working with you. Other thing I wanted to say is good luck to all of our students, teachers, and parents tomorrow on your first day of school. Friday morning, Drew and I spent 3.5 hours with Mr. Fetterman touring the elementary school. I think we saw all of the primary classrooms and spoke with majority of the teachers. I think everybody's really excited to have kids back, and everybody really is trying hard to make sure they're doing the right things. So just, making sure that we're all being patient with each other because we're going to be figuring it out as it goes. And just like everything else in the last 6 months, it's going to change on us all the time. So just trying to be flexible and patient and I think it's clear that the teachers have tried to open the line of communication with the parents, and that, we keep that going and communicate back. For anyone who didn't see on this YouTube channel, I think all of the Meet the Teacher nights, including the kindergarten orientation, if you want to show those to your kids and you haven't seen them. I also believe Mr. Davis has some instructional videos for how to operate Microsoft Teams if your kids are going to be virtual and you're not sure what you're doing there. And also wanted to thank Teresa, because we have kept her really, really busy the last few weeks, throwing a lot of different things at her in this kind of haywire run up to starting school and then replacing a majority of our board. So I just really appreciate you keeping everything organized for us.
Thank you.
Any other board comment?
I'd just like to say and extend a thank you to the board for entrusting me with this position here, and to the public at large. I just promise not to let you guys down. And also good luck to the students coming back tomorrow and to the teachers as well.
All right, thank you. Anybody else? Recognition of the public.
I do have a couple, Mr. President. Jessica Kreiner from Locust Township. Will we be provided a way to contact bus drivers to let them know what days our kids will be going virtually to schooling and which days they will attend if they need to come in? And how is attendance being taken for virtual schooling? All attendance will be starting on Sapphire or us, and we'll double check with teams. So we'll be checking multiple places regarding attendance. And again, if there's issue, we'll be working closely with parents. As far as transportation, you can call our transportation office to let them know. You can also let us know in the district office, and we can forward that if there's certain days they're not going to be there. But our bus runs will be there, and if you're Jessica, if your child's going to be riding the bus will make that route on a daily basis. Unless it's a specific days that you won't be there, then please contact our transportation office. Mike Lester answered that one. 6. Answered that one. 7. Deverano, Ralpho Township. When will it be known who the 4 candidates are that have successfully been added to the board? Now, we have identified them, and we welcome Cindy Brassington from Locust Township, and Anthony Serafini from Ralpho Township, Josh Hoglund from Ralpho Township, and Eli Emzo from Locust Township. Believe my question, Deborah. Sorry, Mrs. Verano. Mike Swartzlander, Catawissa. By rejecting these bids, how will the area be cleaned tomorrow since schools is starting and the janitorial staff? Is there a plan in place? We'll make sure there's a plan in place to get that cleaned tomorrow. The place is clean for tonight. We'll make sure if we don't have another company coming in tomorrow, we will cover those places with our staff that we have. John Arlen, Ralpho Township. Well, I understand these are frustrating times. I ask that Josh Majeski, as an elected official, remember to remain civil and professional during these board meetings. Number 12, Katie Zito, Ralpho Township. Can parents who have their full clearances, specifically myself who holds a coaching position at Southern, volunteer to help the areas that need to be contracted out until we can be rebid and awarded? Thank you for offering, Katie, and if we do need some volunteers, we will put the word out. I do feel strongly that Mr. Tom Cabbage and I will have this remedied to have the areas cleaned every night so they're ready to go for our students the next morning. But thank you for offering. That's all, Mr. President.
All right, this time, Chair.
Before I just, again, like to welcome everybody, the new people to the board. I'm excited to be working with the full board again. I'm excited for the first day of school tomorrow. Our administration, our staff, custodians, maintenance, put a lot of time in, and we're excited to start. Please, we want everybody to understand that from the second the first foot hits the pavement tomorrow, we will be evaluating everything we're doing. We're going to be checking and making sure that what we're doing is in the best interest of all staff, students, and our school community. We're just excited to have everybody back, and I can't wait to see everybody tomorrow. It's been a long time coming.
All right, this time, Chair is looking for a motion to adjourn, and the fact that we will have a executive session afterwards for personnel.
I'll make that motion.
Personnel and contract negotiations.
Got it.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Josh. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Greg. Roll call, please.
Cindy Brassington.
Yes.
Anthony Serafini.
Yes.
Josh Hoglund.
Yes.
Eli Emzo.
Yes.
Drew Hampton.
Yes.
Greg Clevon.
Yes.
Brianna Majeski. Yes. Josh Majeski.
Yes.
Tim Vogt.
Yes.
9-0.
All right, meeting adjourned. Brian, will you let us know when we're offline?
Yes, sir, Mr.